So you're probably wondering why I haven't done any videos for the last couple of days. I had a bit of a fall, banged my head. Yeah, it's still there. Had a CT scan. Apparently I have a head, so that's good. I've got something inside it. But, you know, life goes on. It wasn't too bad. Can't remember anything else. They didn't have any smelling salts. So what they did is they put his face in front of mine. And then, my God, that woke me up fast.
As soon as he saw me, he was like, oh, back to reality.
Back to reality.
The ugly
Yeah,
bastard,
that's it. It's like the things you can't remember, things you can't forget. So, but brilliant time. It's been absolutely great. The treatment I had, the service, everything was brilliant. Loads and loads. They were great, thoughtless, and my insurance, which through my credit card, have covered the whole lot, apart from a very small
So that's
excess.
worth mentioning then. How did you get on in the medical centre?
So I went to the medical centre, which there's a couple in here, but I went to there. Doctor that I went to, Stefan, he did all the tests. They then took me to Samakov, did a CT scan, all came back, everything was fine, got the fit to fly, did all of those sort of things. So everything was really covered. They did a really good job. And I went back the next day to just do some other checks, and he wants to see me one more time just to cover again. So that's all covered in all of that. So it's really nice, great service. But I decided obviously after that to stay off the board for the next 2 days. So, you know, I've had 4 or 5 days on the board, so I've lost 2 days, but you know, life is there.
One of the people from my group as well, she had an accident and split her helmet. So it's really worth mentioning that helmets are lifesavers. If you're not wearing one, get a helmet. You know, times have changed. You know, there's a lot of people on the slope. Actually, it's crazy Saturday today. It's a changeover day for most of the Brits, but there's a lot of Bulgarians here for the weekend. It's mad on the slopes, although it looks a bit quiet up there. That's a black slope, that's why.
I think the thing that always worries me is when I see people who are not confident on a skis or boards wearing a bobble hat.
Yeah.
It's not just them, it's somebody else knocks you out. Somebody takes you out. If you ever listen to how the accidents happen where people are seriously injured, it's always something that they weren't planning. It's something that somebody else knocks them out, takes an edge. I've been taken an edge a number of times when a skier's moved, and that's no fault of a skier. It's just life. Yeah. And so what you do is you make sure you take the right things, you take the right precaution. And a helmet, you know, if you had the accident with the helmet goes in the bin. Yeah, it's definitely not the worst thing in the world.
This is something we used to have with motorcycles. Even if you drop your helmet, we used to say replace your helmet, because what happens, generally, if you have a ski accident with your helmet on and it'll crack or it'll break somewhere, it's supposed to. That's the whole idea of a helmet. That will take the stress. You know, if you think about it being compressed and then it cracks, take a little bit more compression, that's what's going to save your life. So even if it's not cracked, there'll still be a lot of stress on that helmet, and it'll be weakened. So the next time you have a crash, your head is not going to be in a good place. So it's worth just...
And I've also seen some people saying, should I hire a helmet or should I buy a helmet? I mean, my gut feeling is it's difficult on your first trip, because I know people are saying, well, we want to save money. But the helmet's for you. Get the right helmet. They're not super expensive. There are some shops that get them. You know, if you look at some of the shops in the UK, you can get them. And it is worth it.
It's going to be the one thing that saves your life, so it's the one thing worth investing.
I'd agree.
I'd say out of all your equipment, you know, we talk about investing in the best ski boots. If you're going to buy ski boots that are going to be comfortable, because that's going to affect your ride and your enjoyment on the slope. But spend as much money as you can on a helmet, because that's not going to only affect your enjoyment, it's going to affect your life.
Absolutely.
If it needs to. You know, I mean, my helmet was around about £100. And I've had it for 3 seasons now. Probably thinking about changing it now, but like Leo's fell over in his helmet. He had an expensive helmet. It saved his life. Saved his life.
And I'd say that's about the right price, around about £100. You know, you can go higher or lower, but Snow and Rock, when I bought them from Snow and Rock, they've been about £100. Sports Direct have got them. A number of other places have got them. Just have a look. I probably wouldn't buy it on Lidl. It's just one of those things where I'd say...
It amazes me. I see people out here in Dolce & Gabbana ski jackets and a £10 crash helmet.
Yeah,
you know,
I think it's the wrong thing.
That's just mad.
It's just the wrong thing.
I'd
Get
rather
a
wear a £10
branded
ski jacket and a Dolce & Gabbana helmet. You know, well, they wouldn't
anyway,
have helmets
we've talked enough about helmets. We don't want to be negative. We've had a great time. So I've been on all the slopes up until the time of that. I've been on all the slopes. They're brilliant. The slopes are just great this year.
Best year ever, I would say. Best year ever that I've seen. I'm not going to say it's the best year ever.
Yeah,
but
it's
still
been a really
snowing.
good year.
It snowed last night. One thing you've got to be prepared for this time when you come out, compared to every other time that I've been out, is the cold. Now, it's been very cold this time. Normally at night, and during the day now, I've just got like an Eskimo hoodie on, and it's usually been all right. But this year, and I don't really feel the cold that much. It's bitterly cold. So make sure you've got the right gear, layers and stuff.
Definitely
like
was
that.
the coldest it's been here. It was minus 22, minus 23 at the top. Never had it that cold. It's bringing on your cough a bit if you've got one.
Yeah.
In other areas, you'll all have seen there's been some more changes about the COVID rules. We're not going to cover the rules here. We don't know, because by the time you've watched this video, even if you watched it live, it probably has changed in that time. But follow the rules. Everybody here is pretty good about it. They are covering it. It is slightly different to the UK, I'd say, in the fact that everybody that's working here, they have to be COVID tested before they can work here. They have to be fully vaccinated. Everybody that's coming out is having it. Everything's having there. So in a funny way, you feel like you're a little bit in a bubble. But I don't, things are changing, things are happening. But less said on that. Otherwise, everything else is really great.
Yeah.
Lifts have been excellent this year. They've changed some of this mechanism. First time you use it, the lifts are slightly slower. The very first time it recognises you, then it seems to be faster. It doesn't beep at you anymore. No. Still keeps on telling you happy skiing. So, it doesn't work for me as a boarder.
There's a few changes to restaurants as well, as I'm the foodie, so I'll mention it. Green King is no longer, sadly, at the moment. I don't know whether that's going to change at any time, but right now Green King is closed. So if you love going to Green King, sorry. Bobby's Bar is now moved. So what was Bobby's Bar is now Jack's, which seems to be a bit of a jump in place. So if you're used to that, people have seen that as a staple place when coming out, it is now Jack's. Great live music, really pumping at night when I've been past it. BJ's is still pumping. Bobby's is now down near the Sangria, so if you get a chance, pop in there. The White Horse, I don't know if you remember the White Horse is something that I was raving about last time I was here. That has now closed and is a ski school. But the lady that used to be the manager there now runs the Sangria. So the food in the Sangria, which is right next to Bobby's Bar, is absolutely fantastic. Couple of big shouts. I've got to do these because Le Chalet. I'll be doing a review on them later, and I've saved this review because I want to do a real proper review on it. Because full disclosure, Svet invited myself and my friends to go down there. It's a new, really different place to go. Now, if you're not familiar with it, the chalet is right in front of the Flora. It used to be Balkan Snowboards, so it's kind of like they've set it up like a Christmassy market type thing, so you get your food outside. It's great, and they have a different menu every night, and the food was cooked fantastic. Worth saying that I think they've changed it now, but the soup was a little bit cold. But I'm going to say this, even though it was a little bit chilly, it wasn't chilly, it was just tepid. We had it. It was the best soup I've ever had.
Yeah, it was really good.
So that's worth mentioning.
For those who the thing is, Mo says it's a different menu. It's a Swiss menu.
Yeah.
So if you're used to Swiss and that sort of Alpine food, you'll really like it. It's cheese rogalot. It's those sort of things. It's all the things you'd expect to see in that sort of menu. So it does make a bit of a difference because those of you who've been here a lot of times will know that the Bulgarian fare is very, in a lot of the restaurants, can feel a bit samey. It's the same. It's really nice, but it's a lot of heavy meat. And salads and things like that. I mean, last night I went to Hunters. I always recommend Hunters. I love Hunters.
I've not been there yet.
Hunters is you have to book. No arguments. You have to book in there, and their satch is just brilliant.
Yeah. So my other ones, so you want to pop in and see Svet at the chalet. Ladies, Svet is a very tall, handsome Bulgarian man. Spent most of his life in America. So might be worth a look. I'm not of that persuasion, but if I was, then I would. But so that was really, really good. I've tried some new places this year which will come out. Big shout out to Yana Kiev's ski school. Absolutely fantastic ski school. Then I know Jess works for them. From Chris Borovets Transfers. Jess is Chris's daughter, lovely girl. Mitko, who works up there. Mitko, thank you very much for setting up my accommodation at the Popangalov Hotel. If you don't know anything about the Popangalov Hotel, look into it because it's a great place, very reasonably priced. And the manager, Peter, or Pepe Popangalov, is the former Bulgarian Olympic skier. There's a slope named after him up here as well. That is definitely it's very little known, a great little hotel. I've loved my stay there, got one more night there, looking forward to that. What else can I say? It's been a really good trip this year.
It's been good. So for me, I stayed at Sangria for a couple of nights. Then I stayed at St George's. I really like St George's and their chalets. Each chalet has 3 bedrooms, 3 double bedrooms. It has 2 bathrooms in there and a lounge. So it's really nice, really warm. 2 really great showers, and it's perfect if there's 6 of you. I mean, if you come as students, you probably can get 9 in, but I'm not going to say that.
It's worth mentioning as well, some of these hotels, particularly with Pop Angloff, and I know yours as well, they've got their own little ski depot. So if you've got your own, like me, you've got your own skis, you can drop them off next door. They don't like you. Peter's very, very particular about the cleanliness of his hotel. So you have to drop your skis and boots off there every night. So if you've got your own, they're quite happy to look after them. If you haven't, they're quite happy to rent them out to you as well. And you usually find with some of the smaller depots, they look after their gear a little bit better, and they've got newer gear as well.
Yeah, and we've talked about the whole thing of hire. We talked about that in detail. As you know, that this year, both of us, I think, hired from Ollie Molly.
Oh, no complaints there.
No complaints. I've always said it. If you're going to do it, you start off at a certain level. There are loads of middle tier. If this is your first time or one of your very first times, you don't need to go to the top tier until you get worth going. But the minute you go up that tier, you will see the difference. And Ollie Molly has got the best equipment that I've seen in the resort. I'm not going to say it's the best because somebody will probably complain at me, but for me, the service and the quality they give you,
and you recommended it to me, and it was my
brilliant.
first time snowboarding this year. Most of you know I'm a skier, but I did a couple of days lessons with Oggy. A very different style of teaching. That he's a man of the mountain. He's very interested in his surroundings and interested in the environment. And he likes you to know everything about how he services the boards and how you feel about. He's into you about how the board becomes part of you. I thoroughly enjoyed that for 2 days. I'm going to do some more next time I come. I had to get away from it for a bit because I was with a group that wanted to do some skiing, and actually having been on a board for a couple of days gives you a much better grasp of your skiing for some reason. I don't know why. I had a whole new confidence about it, and being on a board taught me a lot more things about the mountain and being on snow and the feeling you get from your board than I ever got from any ski lessons, and gave me a whole new take on my skiing. So if you haven't, I would say it's worth just going on a board for a couple of days just to see, and I give you a bit more of a respect for boarders as well, because it is difficult, and I think as skiers, it's a little bit like on the sea. If any of you are seafarers like me, steam gives way to sail. Now the reason that being is because steam has more control over itself and sail is running with the wind. So it's like skiers give way to boarders because they're probably not. Some of the good ones are in control, but the beginners most certainly. You need to give them a little bit of a berth, and and that makes things safer on the slope if you think like that.
So we've talked about a lot of things. I think I'd like to sum up and say that Borovets is here. It's back. I know a lot of us missed it for a year and a year. They put in a lot of measures. Things are different. It is different going through when you fly. Some things have changed. So you need to follow it. You need to fill in the forms. I know it's all changing again. Keep up with the rules. We're not here to tell you about the rules.
It's no big deal, to be fair.
It's no big deal. But if you're worried, I wouldn't be. It's here. Everything's working. The guys are here. They're all happy to see you. They're doing everything.
Still quiet
all the favourite things. In the week, it's lovely. You're going to get reports every now and again. There's a bit of trouble outside somewhere or something. You're going to get it anywhere in the world. But I would say that I love walking around here. It's safe, it's a nice place. I bring my kids, and it's somewhere you people should come on holiday with. And it's also nice. There's a couple of bars. If you want to have a lively night, playing the nail game in BJ's cannot be beaten.
Borovets,
it's a great
Borovets
place.
is more of a family than a ski resort.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the first year I've actually been on my own. Now, I know I do a lot of videos and a lot of people know me, but someone knowing of you and someone knowing you is a completely different thing. I have not been alone for the 10 days that I've been here. I've met some wonderful people, some new people, and I've never at once sat on my own going, I'm a Billy No Mate.
Which we thought he was. Most people thought he was. But there you go. Anyway, we're going to say goodbye now, and thank you all for watching, and we will be back some other time. Mo, sign off.
Thanks for watching.